we're just going to go back from that, and then you can question me when it's over. So we had a great cattleman's banquet in December. And I told Alan, I was like, everybody was having such a good time. They were talking and bidding and eating. And so I was just going to kind of revisit the business we went over. So these are the officers that were elected. President's Alan Axon. Vice President's Joe Newton Jr., also known as Bubba. The treasurer is Miss Iris Norman. I'm the secretary. Columbia County Director is Mr. Scott Armstrong. Mr. Billy Silas from Glasscock County. And Miss Laura Adams is new on here from McDuffie County. And Mr. Marvin Norman is the director from Warren. So the honors that night, the cattleman of the year was Mr. George Burge. He was not able to be here that night, but he's here with us tonight. So the friend of the cattleman was Dr. Francis Fluharty. And the Pete Lockhart Spirit Award winner was Mr. Marvin Norman. And Chad Silas won the Hay Award, I believe, for the 4th year in a row. But he won't give his secrets out, so don't ask. He's very quiet about it. And the Mickey Wilkerson Memorial Scholarship winner was Thomas Wilkerson. And as Alan told you, we raised over $6,000 for our auction, which is major. Now we've done that before, but when we did it before, it was when we put our chute and our panels that the association owned in it. So this was all just stuff that our sponsors donated and that you all brought. So we got a great auction. Our plans for 2024 that we have so far, we're going to have another meeting here in a few weeks. So February 1st, we'll have a meeting. Clayton Waller is coming, and he owns a company called Savannah Valley Ag Solutions. He's going to be talking to us about pasture and rangeland forage program, basically, which is extra insurance. And the big thing that he's going to be talking about that we have not heard anything before about is livestock risk protection. So we have a couple of people who already do business with him that suggested that he would be good to come. So we're looking forward to that. Our little cook team, we started cooking for Georgia Cattleman's legislative state biscuit breakfast at the Capitol. I believe this will be our 3rd one, so we'll be doing that again. So we leave here. I can't remember Mr. Marvin. I blotted it from my memory, like maybe 2 o'clock in the morning or something like that. Yeah, and so we go, we park at Department of Ag, and we cook tenderloin and stuffed biscuits for all the legislators that Georgia Cattleman's is courting, trying to help us protect our rights and farming and beef cattle. The Innovative Readiness Training Program is where the military, the county applies for a grant, and military people come here and stay for about 10 days. They basically camp out at the high school, and they practice to be deployed. So it'll be doctors, medical doctors, dentists, eye doctors, and veterinarians. And usually Little River cooks for about 200 of them the first night they all get here before they divide up and go. And usually they do about $1 million worth of practice medical work. So we've sponsored that cook for them, I think, 3 times, and they'll be coming back this July, so we'll be doing that again. 4 or 5 times now, our little cook team has fed the Georgia Bulldogs. 4 Georgia Cattlemen's, we'll be doing that again in the fall. And most of you would remember that we usually actually print a directory with all our members' phone numbers, what kind of cattle they have, if they sell hay, if they sell barbecue, they're a plumber, whatever. You know, we're all in it together and we need to support each other. So it doesn't take long for those to be out of date, though. We've printed, I think, 4 or 5 of them over the past 15 years. But we talked to Miss Laura Adams about doing a live Facebook directory. So nobody would be able to see it but members. But we would be able to keep it up to date. So as new people join, you know, we could get them on right then. We wouldn't wait 2 or 3 years till we print another one. If you started some kind of new business, had some kind of new cattle, had a bull for sale, we could put it on and it would be live. So we're going to be working on that. We need input. We need to know what you want to hear about, speakers that you want to suggest for the March meeting, the May meeting, the September meeting, and what kind of things you want to have at the field day that we do a field day in October, usually the first or second Thursday of the month. We'll go to somebody's farm and do this. We always have real good attendance. It's always a really good day, but we need to know what you're interested in, what you'd like more information about. So you tell me or one of the officers so we can get started and make sure that we're doing what you need and want to hear about. The Georgia Cattlemen's, obviously we're under their umbrella. We're the local part of Georgia Cattlemen's here. But what's going on there? National Cattlemen's Beef Association meetings in Orlando, January 31st through February 2nd. That's the closest. I don't know about the closest. It's in Nashville every now and then. But those two are the only two basically that are easy driving for us. So if you've never been to one of those, that would be a good one to go to. I mean, it's like, you know how here we're all alike, we talk about the same stuff, we have the same issues. So instead of it being 75 of us at NCBA, it'll be a couple thousand from all over the country. The biggest beef cattle trade show you've ever been to. If you ever go to one, you'll want to keep going. But there's also important things in the industry that are voted on. So Georgia has a delegation there to represent us and vote on those things too. Our convention, Georgia Cattlemen's Convention, will be in Columbus again. It's titled Building the Herd, March 13th through 15th. So registration's open now. The hotel blocks are open now, I think through the 22nd. If you want to stay in the hotel where you just walk across the street and be at the convention, you need to go ahead and jump on getting a reservation. Otherwise, you'll be being the one you got to travel to get to the convention. Georgia Cattlemen sponsors that. They're at the legislative session, the entire deal. So the legislature went back in session this week on Monday. Georgia Cattlemen's has had somebody there every day. And they'll have somebody there every day through the entire legislative season. The state biscuit breakfast we'll do on crossover day. So that's Georgia Cattlemen's, and it's just Little River helping to pull that off. Georgia Cattlemen's also has a couple of trainings a year called Cattlemen's Connections, and they're like field days in different parts of the state. And they do them similar to what our field day is. So if there's something you're interested in a certain part of the state, if you let them know, they'll try to pull that off. The Feed the Dogs that we do as well is also sponsored by Georgia Cattlemen's. And one of the big things going on is we're trying to get a new headquarters for Georgia Cattlemen's. So most of you know I rotated off the executive committee of Georgia Cattlemen's a few years ago, but being the lucky person I am, I took with me the building committee. So I seem to always end up with the committee that has the most drama. So we have decided to sell the headquarters for many reasons. First of all, safety, because when they put it there 60 years ago, it was in the greatest part of Macon, the safest part of Macon. 60 years has gone by and that is no longer the case. So for that reason, our property values continue to go down. So we don't feel that our people there are safe, and we also feel like our investment, or we know our investment is losing money. So we have decided statewide last year at the convention to sell the headquarters. Thought we had it sold, and the person backed out, so we've got it relisted. So y'all say a prayer for that one. But I'm the chair of the building committee. George Ligon, the lawyer that came and spoke to us, that many of you called and used since he was here, is also on this committee representing our Young Cattlemen's group. Tracy Wheelis is representing Cattle Women, and David Goff is representing the Georgia Cattleman Foundation, which is basically the past presidents. Rodney Healy is representing the executive committee, and Robert Fountain from Adrian is representing the beef board. So up until now, these 6 people, we've come through and presented all this, and figured all this out. I'm in the process of adding a few people to this now. So our next big project with this is to decide where we're going to go. There's been a fair amount of drama around this, as you can imagine. The Fair Authority has offered us 2 acres of land directly across from the north gate at the Georgia National Fairgrounds for a 99-year, $100 a year lease. So I don't think you can beat that, the price or the location, because there's so many things we can do that we can't do in Macon. So many things we can do to raise more money so we can actually expand our representation in the beef industry. There's a few pockets of the state that have another place they'd like to put it. So this will be one of the big debates in Columbus. So if you come to Columbus, I will be asking for your support. I'm trying to, as subtly as I can, lead us to Perry because I think it's the right thing for the industry. And I hope that's the way it turns out. We've got to work on a design for the headquarters that we're going to build and start fundraising since the property hadn't sold yet, but I'm sure it will eventually sell. So anyway, when you're saying your prayers, pray for me and this committee. For the ones who came to cattle feeding school, you already know that we're doing a cattle feeding tour. You didn't have to attend cattle feeding school to attend the tour. I have a link that I can give you. I've tried to send it out, but I don't think all of you have it, because I know there's some of you that were planning to sign up that hadn't. April 1st through the 5th, we're going to fly from Atlanta into Dodge City, do some feedlots and things in Kansas and Nebraska and South Dakota. We're going to spend the day at Gardner Angus Ranch, and this is going to be the week before their big sale, so that should be good. And we're going to go to a Platte colony that is a Wagyu feedlot. So this is, it'll be pretty interesting. So if you have not got the link, let me know. I'll text it to you or email it to you. The deadline for signing up and all that is February 15th. When you look at the link, you're going to say it says January 15th. That's wrong. It's February 15th. So we're looking forward to this. We were supposed to do this in October, and we ended up having to put it off. But Dr. Fluharty's still going to go with us, and it's going to be a great time.
Danny,
Yes.
how many people is allowed to go?
So we have 30 spots.
30 spots.
So it's going to be, you'll see when you look at the link, figure out plane tickets to get to Dodge City, which the guy that's planning this for us has told us if you need help with plane tickets, he'll help us. But, so we'll start in Dodge City, and we'll end up in Omaha, and fly back from Omaha to Atlanta on that Friday. Y'all seem to like short courses on certain subject matters, like the cattle feeding school, and we had grass masters last year too. This year I'm going to do a beef cattle economics and marketing short course. We have a new livestock economist, Dr. William Secor, and we're in the process of deciding if we think this will take 3 weeks, 4 weeks, or 5 weeks. But it'll be 3 to 5 consecutive Thursdays, hopefully in the early spring. We should have everything where you can sign up at the cattleman's meeting February 1st. Should have the dates and all that worked out. So, looking forward to that one. It'll be a lot of good information, and he's a good young specialist. The Farm to School Garden Project is pretty much, I just want to update you a little bit because we tried to keep y'all in the loop there, and some of you volunteer with us. We have the building. We've had very, I say look, but we've been blessed. We've Washington EMC and Jefferson EMC, Warren County Soil and Water, Warren County Farm Bureau, Warren County Garden Club. We got 1 grant from UGA. Where's Amanda? I don't think I left out anybody. Anyway, when you ride by the school, look over and you'll see, we've got our building, we've got the deer fence, got it up. We're starting to build the raised beds. Got a greenhouse. So hopefully we'll be selling plants in the spring and also having some little farmers markets out there once we have produce coming. So for those of you that volunteer, we certainly appreciate it. And more than likely, we'll be asking you again.
Tammy, is that the children doing the growing?
So it will be the children doing the planting and growing once we get everything in swing. And our goal is pre-K through 12th grade is the entire school. Amanda's already been doing some programming there with the smaller kids, and it's gone great. Because they're getting experience that we'll never get any other way, and they're loving it. So we're real proud of that. All right, we usually wait to the end to do this, and then everybody's ready to go, and people don't hear it, and then you miss out on stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead right now and say, who's got what for sale? If you got a bull, you got hay, you're selling some heifers, you got a tractor, now's your time to tell it. Or if you are looking for something specific that you think somebody might have, ask us, because you never know. We all do the same thing. So, again, we need to support each other. While you're thinking about that, I'll tell you, George Birch, he's already sold a bunch of his cows. He's going out and planting trees on his property. So he's got 31 cows, bred cows, that will be at Duval Livestock Monday. The sale starts at noon. And we've got them divided out. We've got some sheets of paper that have the cows, the numbers, what color the cows are, the calf that goes with it if you want to see, because the calves are going to be there too. But they'll already be divided into groups. And I'll be there too, to help anybody that wants help looking through them or knowing about them or any of that. And George is here tonight. So several of you have asked me about other stuff, like panels and hay rings and tractors and whatever. So if you're interested in any of that, I'm going to let him either tell you now or you can talk to him later. He says talk to him later, I think. Or,
I do have a question.
okay.
Does anybody know how to price panels?
What do y'all think panels are worth? He's got a bunch of them.
Heavy or light?
Huh?
Heavy or light?
Both?
Yeah.
The thing is that you could go look at one panel or a dozen, and they'll all be in different condition. And who wants to stand around pricing that stuff, or picking out, or whatever? If you ran an ad on it, then it would be no way to explain it, how it is.
Just put on that used panels price from this price to this price,
For how many?
as many as you got.
Separate them into
No,
piles.
that's where I am with it, is separate them 5 or 10 to a lot and sell them like that, and nobody's picking through.
That'll be the one, yeah.
Because if you say, okay, you can have the best panels out here, so you're left with nothing,
Well, while y'all are thinking about that, we've been working, he's already sent a bunch of cows. This set of cows that are going are bred cows, and you can see the calves, tremendous calves, and I have no reason at all to kiss up to George. This is 110% the truth. If you need to replace something, this would be a good place to do it, because they are super nice cows. All right. It's bull buying season, and I've preached for years, this is one of, if not the biggest decision you make every year that has the most influence on your productivity and your profit. Because these bulls are half of everything, and if you keep replacement heifers, they're even more than half of everything. So these are a few sales that I usually help people. The UGA Focus on Genomics sale is February the 8th. Several of you got catalogs. There's a catalog online. I'll be clerking that sale, so I'll be there. The Yon Family Farms spring sale, they're gonna have females and bulls, and it's gonna be February 17th. I've marked a couple of catalogs already for folks for that. And I've been marketing catalogs for people for 20 years, I think. At least 15, and I have never been to Yon. I've met Kevin a bunch of times at different things, but I've never been to their place. And this past fall, our county agents meeting was in Augusta, and they wanted to set up a beef tour. So I called him and asked him if we could come, and we went, and they showed us around, we saw everything.
Got a nice place.
It is super impressive. There is no doubt. If you've never been there, it doesn't matter if you want a bull or you're into Angus or semi-Angus. It's just an impressive beef cattle ranch. And that, if you're in this business, it's not that far. It's a place you want to see and some people you want to meet. The Tifton Bull Test sale is on March the 6th. So those are it's a feed tested sale. I'll be clerking it and I'll be down there. Several of you got bulls from there before too. The other thing that I ask you to remember, because this is going to be, things that I've seen places, there is lots of ways to make a black calf. Okay? It's not just black Angus, and you don't have to have straight Angus cows. And if you're not careful picking over and over Angus, semi-Angus, just back and forth, before you know it, you'll have a purebred herd of cows. You'll be selling purebred calves for commercial prices, and you will be losing money because those are two separate businesses. So just keep in mind, I understand the black hide deal with a calf, but there's lots of ways to make one. So think about that when you're picking your bulls out. So what I have been seeing and getting questions on the last couple of months, everybody wants to know what the outlook is. And I'm not going into all of these in some great detail. I'm just going to hit the high spots and you can ask me some questions. But basically, the cattle outlook price-wise is good. I mean, it's going to hold up because we're in a shortage. Cow numbers are low. Having said that, it is also very volatile. So if you remember back in December, calf prices went down 30 cents in 1 week. So if you went to Athens, or you went to Washington, you went to Duval, you went to Southern Livestock, the next week you could go back with the same kind of calf and you got somewhere between 21 and 34 cents a pound less. Because the stock market had some bubbles and it doesn't take long to get it there. So the prices are going to stay up for a couple of years, but it doesn't take a lot, it's so volatile, to cause some ups and downs, and they go down quick and they come back quick. But that's the way that's going to be. Now, my caution to you is, when you can sell a weaned calf or a calf that you didn't even wean and get at least $1,000, human nature, you tend to decide that you can skip stuff that you normally do. You know how we are. Never more important to keep up your herd health than everything you've always done. What's more important is, if you built some kind of niche business, replacement heifers, selling beef, any of that, right now, a good calf, you can make as much money selling it off the cow as you're going to make it that your niche markets have been making you. And you did those niche markets to make extra money. Well, right now, that money is about even. But you have to maintain those niche markets because this price is not going to stay. And when this is over in a couple of years, you're still going to be wanting to get that same kind of money. So that's my warning there. My other thing is, if you're needing to build back numbers or you've got some old cows that you want to replace with some younger stuff, do it now because once we start rebuilding, calf prices might be a little less. They'll start to go down. But buying cows, decent females, heifers or bred cows, they're going to be valuable. So build them now is what I would do if I was looking to do that. We've had some decent cold snaps, nothing like the 0 on Christmas Day like last year, but cold enough. Cattle need extra feed. They need more hay, they need better hay, or they need some supplement because they gotta keep themselves warm. So they're using calories to stay warm besides using calories to maintain their body or to feed a calf or whatever they're doing. And this needs to be done, started 2 or 3 days, a week or so before you know this bad cold snap is coming. Our cattle are built for this, but our cattle in the south get used to us not having really cold, you know, because we've had winters where we didn't have it. So then when we have this where we're really cold and then we get back warm, we get really cold again, you know, they need a little extra help more so than we usually give them. So I would work on that, and I'd also try to feed them in the valleys, in the edge of the woods. You know, I'd get them out of this wind if I could, is what I'm saying, because the less calories they have to burn to stay warm, the more calories are going to go to what they're actually doing for you to make money. Body condition scores, I never see any issues with this except during the winter. And the easiest way to put weight on a cow in the wintertime, you know, everybody seems to concentrate on protein all the time, and protein is important, but energy and fat's what's going to keep a cow in good shape and help you keep them in good shape. So I would be looking at fat and energy as much as protein, if not more, if I had an issue with this. Nitrate issues kind of come and go. This year has been a big one for that because we've had big weather swings, a lot of rain, no rain. Those kind of things are what help create this problem. So I had more hay samples come through this year with high nitrates, I think, than I've ever had. I also had some people dealing with some pretty good nitrate hot spots in some hay. You know, some high nitrates, cattle can adapt, and they can get used to some things. So if the nitrates are not awfully high, a lot of times you don't know you have a problem until your cows don't breed back, or you have some kind of health issue. So in other words, it's not laying them down and killing them, but it's still causing some trouble. You know, the really high nitrates are what, once you start seeing symptoms of that, there's no backing that up. So we've had some people that have had both of those issues been dealing with this year. You know, and that just goes back to testing your hay, which you need to test your hay for lots of reasons, but this is just the cherry on top of it. And this year we've seen a lot of this. I've had a lot of people dealing with hoof issues, and it's not genetic, it's not illness, it's just soft hooves, and it's for the same reason we have these nitrates. So we have all this rain, and it gets muddy, and the cows are hanging out and all that, and then it gets super dry, and it swings back and forth and back and forth, and their hooves just don't adjust. And the only thing you can do is keep a good mineral program. Most of the time that'll prevent it, but they're going to work out of it. It's not anything genetic, not anything you're going to choose. There are feet and leg problems that are genetic. This is not one of them. It's just one of the weather things we've dealt with this year. Most of the time we see hoof issues, we see navel eel problems in calves, like when cows are calving and it's muddy, or you know, you got mud holes and stuff from all this rain. The organism that causes navel eel is always on your place, it's always in the ground, but and it's not even every few years, it's, you know, not that often, but a navel eel issue will cause you a lot of problems. So with all this rain that's coming, I would watch that, and it's going to take antibiotics to fix it if you get it. So it's not anything that if you have the issue, you're going to fix yourself. You know, so be watching and have a good relationship with your vets. This isn't anything that's weather related or yearly related. Maybe it's just that I've had dealings with people that have had this issue more so than normal. But I've had the twin question a lot this year, and I've had a lot of people raising orphan calves. So The first question with the twins is, no, the cow cannot count, and most of the time, as long as there is a baby with her, she's satisfied. So that means you're the other baby's mama. And the other baby can be both babies. You know, as long as she has a baby with her, all is right with her world. So the second one, it's up to you to make sure that that calf gets to the point that it can follow her and it can nurse and it's learned that behavior, and you're not counting on the cow. Now, lots of reasons for orphans. If I had a cow that had twins and I could watch the calf until it got the behavior learned to follow the cow and nurse, I'd let that go. A lot of times that doesn't happen and you end up having to raise the other one. Laura just told me she's got one in her utility room, don't you? Yeah, a heifer that had one. But you have to watch when you're raising one on a bottle. They will abuse all your feelings and emotions and love. They only need to eat twice a day. Now, they eat way more than that if they're on their mama. But if you're feeding them with a bottle, they only need morning and night. They don't need all that they ask you for. So they will abuse you and train you to be what they want you to be instead of you doing it if you're not careful. It's not all that hard. You know, you got to make sure they get colostrum, whether it's natural or not, in the first 12 hours or so. And you got to get them on that bottle. And 2 to 3 weeks, you need to start offering some feed and some hay. By the time they're 2 months old, they need to be able to be on their own. After that, you don't need to be toting a bottle to a calf. Now, I would tell you, I'm going to say 25% of the time, they'll go on and they'll grow like everybody else, and when they're 2 years old, you won't even be able to tell they were a bottle calf. 75% of the time, not, you know, they get behind, and once they get behind, they don't catch up. And by then, they've got you all tied up in them, and you don't want to see them leave, and, you know, then they're behind the rest of their life. So I'm just cautioning you on that one. And I'm not saying anything because I'd be the same way. But, because if you do this, you love them, and you get attached, and you got some sentiment there. But, anyway, these are most of the things that I've been getting from 2 or 3 or 4 or more people. The nitrate thing's been from a good many folks. Does anybody have any questions, comments, suggestions of any kind? All right, well, I'm going to end with one last thing. The people that I announced in the beginning, that are the officers and directors and all that do all the work to keep all this thing rolling, not just in this county, but the ones that do it, Georgia Cattleman and National Cattleman, you know